I'm going to do my clap. You want to do yours?
You said you have the clap? That's crazy, dude.
Yo.
You can't be doing stuff like that. All right. Oh, that was weak, huh? Much better. Okay.
All right.
Relax.
Episode 47. The last episode we just had was with our good friend Will McGuire. That was a very good episode. I really enjoyed it. It was also very nice to see, like, I know how our relationship has grown over the years, but to see your relationship with Will and how it's grown, and it was nice to see how, like, close you guys are, and, like, the kind of relationship that you have with other people outside of the relationship you have with me. I think it was kind of, in a way, similar to when Desiree was on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was a really good episode. We had a really good conversation. Talked about
like being able to like kind of see the connection. Like I've known him for a long time, and like he has a really good perspective that I think is very unique. That I've known him for years, and I meant that when I said that to him. That I was like, you know, I look up to you. You know, he's a good businessman. He's a good father. He's a good husband. Like I'm proud of him as a person, and it really was an honor, especially like to have someone like him in our corner who has supported the podcast since the beginning. Mm-hmm. We kept saying like full circle moment. That was really nice. Like I really, it was really nice to like bring that friendship. It also felt like that. Like you may have felt that way, like when Brian was on the podcast. Mm-hmm. That was interesting because like
that was also the first time I met Brian,
it was so interesting. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I saw him the other day, like maybe a week and a half ago. He walked past. He was walking through Beacon. I was just sitting outside the Elixir.
Still our longest episode ever.
Yeah.
With Brian Galligan.
Yeah, that one went on for forever. Mm-hmm. Forever.
Who wants to break that record? Who wants to have a podcast with us that's longer than 2 hours and 40 minutes?
Yeah, no, I was thinking about that before, that we got to get some more guests coming on. I think it breaks up the conversation, and it's also kind of what we wanted to do. You know, when we started out doing this, it wasn't always just to have the episodes be me and you. Mm-hmm. We wanted to do more interviews and have more diversity. And also, like I said, just makes the conversation a little bit different each time and with each person. Not every guest episode is the same. So I think that's something we should lean more into, getting some more people that are on brand with the podcast.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, and I think it amounts to all around good things, because I think that why we started doing this was to learn and to engage with people who we wanted to be in the same room with, and so not only we can learn from them, but then be able to share that with the people who follow this podcast. And I see this down the road as it being something that we're doing at least a guest episode every other week. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe we do this every other week, and then a guest. As time goes on, we'll be able to hopefully do that.
Yeah.
I think that's or maybe it's we do one of these and we do a guest episode every week, right?
Yeah.
You never know.
I would enjoy.
I mean, most of the big podcasts that we follow put out more than one episode a week.
Yeah, and I just like I said, I think the why for this for us has always been to learn more and to see things from a different point of view, and to learn about other people's journeys and how they can relate to yours, and just little tricks and tools you can pick up from other people. And I think those conversations always just end up being really, really good. I don't think we've ever had an episode of the podcast where we sat down with somebody else and we're like, that didn't go well.
Mm-mm. It always just the energy around it, and we've also had people who, you know, we've been careful about who we picked, that the people who we wanted to have were really passionate about not only being on, but what they wanted to talk about and what they wanted to bring and share with the world. Yeah. It wasn't just a promotion thing. It was I'm excited that you guys started this, and I'm excited to now be a part of that. Mm-hmm. And I want that energy more.
Yeah.
And I think it also it gets easier and easier. And in the beginning, we talked a lot about being good interviewers and being able to really listen to people's questions. And I felt when we interviewed Will, it was the first time where I was really able to like settle in and not be rushing to the next question, really listen to what he's saying, and then I say, oh, that, what he said about this, I would like to know further more about, and ask a follow-up question versus just trying to get through all the questions that we had. That was the first time where I could feel myself just like really tuning into what one of our guests was saying and not worrying about how their camera angle looked or what, like, were we going to have enough time? Do they need to be somewhere? Like, are we asking interesting enough questions?
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, there's just also the fact that, like, I think that is the most organic way to reach more people.
Yeah, to grow this.
Because there's people who know Will, or people who know Vic, or Brian, or Jose, Desiree, that, like, maybe would never give this a shot. Or, and it's just introducing new people to the audience.
Yeah.
And even if that's the only episode you listen to, thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
I'm
okay.
cool with that
That's
because
okay.
I think it's like what I said to you last night. It's very, very, very rare do you see a podcast like the one I sent you, the Ted Danson one, that sometimes has Woody Harrelson, where like you look at the lineup.
Oh, it only sometimes has him?
Yeah,
Okay.
you look at the lineup and it was like every single person. But like I also
Yeah.
don't know what the gist of those conversations are because I haven't listened to it yet. But just to see like a list like that, it gives you, because you can go and just pick like I would like to listen to this person. Like
Well, obviously it's going to be intimidating the guests that super famous people are going to be able to get.
Oh yeah,
right off the rip, and then you can just but you know what, like that is on a smaller scale what we can do, which is that like maybe somebody or I like to think that will be people who listen because somebody that they know is on the podcast, and then they're like, oh, this is actually interesting.
Yeah, gonna support my friend and listen.
Yeah,
and then find something in it that they like. Yeah,
it's a fun feeling.
We're getting there. We'll have more people.
Yeah, but I like how often do you factor in like who the guest is on a podcast for you to listen?
A good amount.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like all the time.
Even ones that are top tier. Like obviously, like I'll listen to ones that strike me as interesting.
This is a good example. I bet you way more people listen to Chris Williamson because Matthew McConaughey was on than they would have like normally.
I mean, that's a huge get. Yeah.
Yeah.
But exactly. Yeah. They like having, and like I don't know. I've never listened to a podcast where he wasn't a great guest. It's just one of those things that is like, that's the most organic, natural way that you can grow this.
Yeah, I think we got away from that for a little bit, and that was the goal at the beginning. It should still be the goal, and I think we've just gotten kind of caught up in some things along the way, like setting up or doing clips or making sure we're consistent. And
well, I think we had to prove to ourselves that we could consistently do it before we were ready to like really.
You think we've reached that point?
I think so. I think that we should go right into the fact of it being like, let's try to do a guest every other week.
Yeah.
We're ahead enough right now that like the new year is right around the corner. Like,
I wrote in my journal last year that I wanted to have a bunch of guests on like around January. I think it was like January 1st. It's in that.
We did that. Yeah, we did that episode in the. What was that? The one. It was like the one where we talked about where we want to be in the spring. And I think we said 75 episodes or something. I don't know. And then like 25 guests. Or I don't know.
We'll go back and check the
We'll go back. Yeah.
I think
there's a lot of times where we talked about numbers like that on the podcast.
We for sure. So if you want to be on the podcast, if you know anybody that you think would be a good fit on the podcast, or just want to. I don't know. Just want to talk. No, we like if. Yeah,
I don't know. Like we've been
do a better promo for this so we can use it as a clip, and then we'll cut out. I feel like we should put it in there just because like we're already recording. We can just use that later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean we're looking for people who are interesting. Whether they're a fan of the podcast or not. That like I don't know. I guess.
No, you should.
No. I'm saying I'm trying to think of like what's a short way to describe somebody who we'd want to have.
We're looking for somebody who is a business owner, sober, into mental wellness, has been through some sort of struggle that they've become aware of and started to make changes in their life. Somebody that's looking to grow.
Yeah, or they're working on it. Maybe you just started working on it.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's like a level to it.
Yeah, so if you listen to the podcast and you know somebody like that, or you are somebody like that, and you see this clip, you random person. The first episode, the second guest we did with Jose was literally, we had never met Jose before. Nope. I didn't know Jose until he got off the end train in Ditmars.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm like texting him. I'd never met him before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that was a great episode, you know? So if you know somebody that's like aligned with what we talk about or curious about what we talk about and want to be on the podcast, let us know. Reach out to us. And we'll try and set something up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'd like to have more guests. I think like having that.
We have a questionnaire for it. You fill out the questionnaire, we'll get back
the
to you.
questionnaire? The questionnaire?
The questionnaire, whatever.
The questionnaire? The equestrian?
Yeah. Yeah, we're riding fucking horses.
We're riding horses into the sunset. With our guests, though, hopefully.
Way to tie it all together.
With our guests. Like, if you would like to go on a horseback ride with me and Steve.
That's how we'll record the episode. But also on that, like we can, if you don't want to come to us, we can come to you. Like we do have the capability to bring this on the road. So
why not add more locations to the docket, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd say like anybody who's just into the idea of like making the world a better place or making themselves a better person is a great all-around way that like that doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna have every single person who reaches out to us, but it also means that like we want to be around people who want to do that more.
The timestamp for this is going to be wanted at looking for good person.
Wanted at looking for solid human being who possibly works on mind and body.
Well.
No, I think there's something about having a guest on that just brings that energy of... I guess the easiest way I can explain it is like spreading love to everybody, because it's just like we would only be in the same room doing this thing if we didn't have that thought and if we didn't kind of like all align in the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think we have such big aspirations sometimes that we forget to look at the steps that you need to take to get to those aspirations.
Which is like growing the audience by having guests.
That you know, and it's people that like you can have. It also...
Nobody has ever said no to us.
And the one thing that I think is very important about this is everybody that we've ever had on after the conversation, like I said before, it's just always been like, that was a good conversation. We learned a little bit more, and you have a better connection with that person. Mm-hmm. Nothing bad ever comes from sitting down and recording a conversation like this, because you can always look back on it and be like, I learned something, I took something from this, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We always... Like I said, I mean, I don't know what other than the fact that like there's just like an energy in the room when we're doing that, and it's always been there.
Yeah,
it's always been there since like when I remember how exciting it was when we did it with Will. Jose was really exciting because it felt really professional because we didn't know him. It was like, is this dude gonna kill us or like? No,
the nicest
guy. Oh, dude, love him. Yeah, but like that's another thing. It's like why not have him again? Like you know, like we can. That's stuff like that's just.
He's doing a lot of podcasts right now too.
Yeah, he's all over the place. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have a car. We can drive. Yeah. Like we can go places. Yeah. We'll show up at your door.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's where the conversation went today.
Yeah.
But no, that's a good way to start it, because I feel like that energy right there, talking about what we want to do on here, and then realizing that we should take the actual steps to doing that, rather than, because it's kind of like what happened when we were setting up. Like we have to set up this way because this is what we got right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can't be shooting for the moon when you've never worked at NASA before.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
That was good. That was good.
Fly.
Did you make that up?
Yeah.
You can't shoot for the moon if you don't even work at NASA yet?
Yeah. Woo!
Jeez. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Clip that.
Clip it.
That's a good one. I think it puts you into the perspective of like
it gets us excited about what we're
doing here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that why we started this was because we wanted to create something bigger than ourselves. And then once this started getting bigger and it felt like there was more to be like grown to, we were like, how are we going to do this on our own without tapping and like not really tapping into exactly what it was that made us want to do this in the beginning, was that like we want to involve other people and bring more love like to everybody.
How can I serve?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And it's not just, like I said, I think that we've made a really awesome podcast that like for like almost 50 episodes, and we've had what, 5 guests?
Yeah.
Like I think we've done an amazing job of talking about new topics and mixing it up and doing all sorts of different things to grow an audience.
Yeah. And now we have 50 episodes of experience under our belts to go film with people where the conversation just flows so much easier. Because we've also had those episodes, like the last episode and episode 3, where like it was challenging, but we went through it. And like as uncomfortable as it was and as hard as it was, we sat there and made sure we put the time into having a conversation, even if it was one that we were like, throw away at the end. But that's important because you have to have days like that to learn. And like,
well, no, even the best podcasts that we listen to, our favorite shows, your favorite director.
Somewhere.
Well, no, but like not all of it is going to be your favorite and perfect, and like whatever part of that we can bring that can involve somebody else, as long as we're bringing the right intention to it.
Yeah.
Can only kind of, in my opinion, bring back good things for us.
Yeah. Because right now, it's been so many episodes of just us, and like the last episode, like you said, you set up so quick, and you were like, I didn't feel any of that stress. Because like, it's like when we've been doing this for so long and it's just the two of us, like the only thing you can really do to try and make every episode different is to try and improve somewhere, and that puts a lot of stress on your plate for like,
and it's like, does the camera angle look better? Is our sound getting better? Am I editing the episode better? Like, are the clips like getting more engaging? Are we getting more? And then that's not even talking about like views and plays and downloads and all that shit that is easy to get like trapped in here about, why did we do this? We didn't do this so that we could get 1,000 downloads and get monetized. We did this so that we would talk to interesting people, and then hopefully along the way, other cool things would come. But if you lose, like, I don't know. I can personally say that, like, sometimes I've lost sight of that, like, intention of, no, that's not the point.
Yeah. Instead of spending 4 hours on Sundays making clips, I can do 2 hours on Sundays making clips and 2 hours reaching out to people and trying to schedule something, and, like, setting up. Like a conversation.
Dude, I mean, and I'll continue to say this. The fact that we got Kilmer on our 19th episode is incredible.
Yeah.
So like,
he said yes before the podcast was a thing.
And that is just like, and I think it also is like, it makes you okay with like, not everybody's gonna say yes, but like, why not try? It doesn't like hurt any of that. It doesn't hurt us as a podcast, and like, as they go on, it's just like, I don't know, I feel like we've been doing it for so long that it's like, it feels so out of reach. But at the same time, it's just like, no, like, think about what we have accomplished. Think about what we have done. Like, think about, like, to me, it's, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And sometimes I forget. Sometimes I get caught up in, like, people need to see, like, this huge improvement in every episode. Because it's like, we started with one camera on your back deck with I don't even know if we had microphones. Did we? Yes, we did.
Yeah, we had microphones. They
did not work well.
Yeah,
they did not work well though.
Especially for the environment that we were in. Those microphones would probably be better now.
The pool filters, just like
going the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean that's just take stock in that and make sure it's something that we take away from this conversation today. Is we've done a good job with what we have allotted to us right now. Let's take the next step and go start talking to more people. Like, even if we were to we can talk about it, but try and maybe next week, instead of filming an episode, we just are reaching out to people, or maybe we try and set up some meetings for whatever day we would have podcasted, so we can meet with potential people for shooting an episode and setting something up, because we are so far ahead, and like it's good to keep hammering out episodes, but at the same time, like we said, I think it just puts a little bit of stress on us to try and, because we do this every week. Like, life's changing, and like this episode is different than a month ago, but like the conversation from this week to last week isn't, like you said, it became intense, like, because we were kind of like out of stuff to talk about. It's good that we sat and took that time to just try and like recoup before we, like, instead of forcing ourselves to film something, you know?
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's time to just go slow for a minute and just sit down and try and hammer out some conversations with other people about coming here.
And we've also proven that we can. I mean, we're on almost 4 months in a row of putting out an episode every single week.
Yeah.
And I love that consistency, and I would like to keep that up. But like, if we sacrifice that in terms of trying to grow further and trying to set up like a more direct path towards growth and engagement, and then like I'm okay with like if we miss a week, or if we miss a couple of days, or whatever, or whatever it is, or we put out a mini or whatever it is, because like I know that we've proven that we can do it over time.
Yeah, I would like to take some of the discipline that I have with my morning routine and put it into other things, and I think sometimes this takes a back seat, you know, like something that I do and that I want to do, but I really put last week I put 12 hours into my body between yoga and running, like, just because I can track it. If I put 12 hours into this, like, rather than the time that me and you set up and sit down and film an episode, and then the time that I take to make a clip and put it on Instagram or whatever, you know, like taking time to sit there and reach out to people, send out emails and be like, hey, just reaching out, would you want to be on? You know what I mean? Like,
I definitely would like to mention some of that stuff about what we were talking about right before this, and just in terms of like, you know, we talk about our morning routines and like our nighttime routines, and like what we try to do to like stay sane and prepare for the day or prepare for the next day or whatever. So what are you trying to do these days, whether it's morning or nighttime?
For me, I've very much, like I said, I've incorporated a lot of yoga to balance out the strain that I put on my body through running, and I think I've seen just a tremendous boost in my recovery every day and my sleep at night and like the way that I feel. So that's been super big for me. I've also been trying to get into that circadian rhythm, just waking up like as the sun comes up.
I've been more in tune with that since the clocks went behind.
Yeah, I think that's when it hit me too. But like I just thrive in this time. I also like being up that early, because like today I had 10 miles in before like 9:30, and I was like, and if you don't do anything else for the rest of the day, you did 10 miles, you know. And like like I said, I think I am very emphasis on my morning routine and making sure that I do it, and I think the outcome is I'm a better person for the day. I'm definitely more self-aware, and there's not as much brain fog. And the one thing that I did this morning that we talked about, that you introduced me to, is like just not going right to my phone in the morning. Because not that I'm on my phone scrolling or doing anything like terrible. I like answer. I'll like read the text message that Desiree sent me before I went to bed, or if somebody else texted me, and then I'll go on Whoop and I'll just like type in my journal, like add in what I did for the day before, and then like look at my recovery and stuff. But I think just that, having my phone in my hand, kind of, it takes me out of my body and right into the distraction, and then it makes it harder to go about the day. And the biggest
it's setting that intention that the phone is the first priority, kind of, in a way, if it's the first thing you go to, right?
Yeah, and like today, I know it made a difference because I got right in the shower. That cold shower, sometimes, like I said, I'll pace around. Like, I don't want to do it every day, but I do. But like, I know the difference in myself when I wake up, and like I've had days before where I just like hop in. I'm like, and those are great days, and I always start off on the right track those days. Like when I'll turn on the water and I'm like, this is the first wall of the day, like Andrew Huberman says. Like, this is my first wall. If I get through this and then I make it through in there for 3 minutes and I get out, we're fucking rolling. And that it helps so much today.
Yeah, I feel like the one that I try to get away from is that like getting out of bed and doing something before going right to the phone. Like, that to me is the first wall. Yeah. And I think just recently I'm starting to realize that it's there.
Yeah.
But that time is valuable. There's different like wave states of your brain that like you don't just go from the sleep one into like your active, like
it's like conscious, subconscious, and beta, alpha.
There you go. Yeah, and I can't remember which is. I think beta is when you're sleeping, right?
Beta is when you're
alpha
sleeping.
is in the middle, and then what's the other? I don't know what the other one is.
But
that's like the active, like going about your day. And it's almost like the video I kind of watch is like, it's kind of in a way like sort of you can hypnotize yourself. And I don't like the word hypnotize because it's like, I want to be in that state. I'm not being like, I want to be in the state where, but it's like a crucial time. It's how they described it is that like you're wasting like valuable minutes by looking at your phone or whatever.
It's also why looking at your phone right before you go to bed is so bad for you. Like the first thing, I put my phone on the shelf. And then I fucking just put calm on, and then I lay down, and my phone's away from me. Like, and I also try to dim the lights after the sun goes down. Big on red lights, especially when I'm at Desiree's. That's how the whole house is. So.
Yeah, the red lights help.
But it makes a big difference, and I see it because of Whoop. I see it everything that I've been doing lately. And how it's paying off, and like just like turmeric paying dividends on my fucking recovery. Like, it's insane. It's like +8. It shows it in my insights.
Yeah. No, I saw it was like, and what I've been trying to do now is, because it's hard with, it's like, oh, my charger's next to my bed, and that's just kind of how people operate. And I've been trying to like charge my phone in that they say like at least an hour before you go to bed you shouldn't really like be scrolling on your phone looking at it, like you can, like within reason. It's all got to be mindful, but like using that time, charge my phone and then put it away from, at least not within reach of, I got to get out of the bed to get to it, because then oftentimes it's like you're up and you're like, you go about your day, and then you mentioned it to me before too, that like you kind of realize once you get past that, you don't need to. You're like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm in this state. Hour. Yeah, and then like, I kind of feel like I only do it in like spurts, and I'm like really trying to be disciplined about it. And I can't even imagine like what's that look like if you do that for a week straight, for a month straight. There's always something new to tap into, and it's just like, okay, like, I wake up in the morning and I'm grateful that I'm not hungover because I don't drink anymore. But like, okay, but now how can I build on that?
Yeah. I think right out of sobriety, working on your body is like the biggest thing. And it's been almost 2 years for me now, and I'm still just in that stage where like I'm trying to get this back to peak condition after the years of abuse that I put on it. And I'm starting to see it. Like I said, yoga the night routine now, having a nightly routine, making sure that I'm not eating super late. I've also been eating super clean, like just like plants.
Bro, everything on our Instagram for the podcast is just vegan recipes.
I said it to Desiree the other day.
Everything. I'm like, what? I'm like, everything in here is just all vegan recipes.
Yep.
Everything.
That's all I've been doing.
Yeah.
Like, just I've been making sure that like at night I'm cooking a meal or Desiree's cooking, and we're like having some nice downtime together, and then we either meditate and she takes a shower and I do yoga, or like somewhere in that spectrum. But I've been making sure that I'm doing at least 25 minutes of yoga after a run to 45, depending on how long it was. And then at night, the opposite. Like if I did 40, then I'm doing 20. If I did 20, then I'm doing 40. And that time has just like, it brings my body to like, puts me in my body first and foremost. And then it slows everything down from there, because you're just going into the night a little bit more mellow, and I'm not on my phone scrolling or watching TV and being distracted. And you know what I mean? And I can see it like in the last 2 weeks, like my recovery, I haven't been red at all, and I've been like the lowest is like in the 60s.
I haven't been red in weeks.
My HRV,
even when I don't feel like I slept great. Yeah.
And my resting heart rate, did you see it today? 44.
That's low.
Yeah. I want to get into the 30s. I got to be like turtle calm. I'm trying to be Chris Traeger from Parks and Recs. Yeah.
I'm gonna be the first man to live to 153 years old.
They say that my heart rate is the same as a 130-year-old sea turtle. But I think that like taking that discipline, like I said, and putting into other things could be really impactful for me, especially right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying this to myself for years, that it's just like what could you do with the time that you spend? You know, whether it's looking at your phone or watching mindless TV or whatever.
I cut out the mindless TV and the video games. The phone's still got a lock on it.
Well, like, you know how much I love
When's
movies.
the last time you turned it on your PlayStation?
Well, I mean, I turned it on like to play a video game.
Yeah.
Probably a couple months.
Yeah. That thing.
I almost never. I'm at the point now where I virtually never watch TV in my room anyway, and that's like a good way to like separate.
Yeah.
But then, like, you know, sometimes I'll like, even for me, sometimes it's as simple as just like the difference it can make if you just stretch for like 10 minutes in the bed before you go to bed. Like, can make a huge difference. Like,
yeah, man, it's crazy because I had to take that time that I'm normally watching wrestling and just put it into yoga. I haven't watched wrestling on a Monday night or on a Friday night in like almost a month and a half.
Yeah, but who's to say that like you can't like stretch while you're watching that a little bit? Like,
oh, I know I can't.
Huh?
I just know I can't. It's like one of those things that you know about yourself. Like you know where you can give yourself slack and where you can't. And for me, like there's definitely other areas where I shouldn't be giving myself slack, but I do. And like it's becoming aware of that and trying to make the changes to implement it there. But like the first place that I had to do it was with my physical fitness. Like I got in shape and then I got really disciplined with myself on that, and now I'm just building on that. And now that I've realized how good I am at it, it's like time to put that into other things. Work, fucking making money, this podcast, family, whatever it is.
Family.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I say that because like sometimes for me it's like I said, sometimes you're not all the way there, but like you can do little things that like sometimes I'll be watching a movie, and when the movie gets towards the end, I'll start stretching in the living room.
Yeah. Because
then I'm just like I'm preparing myself for like it's not what's the next thing that we're gonna watch. It's because I think it's really easy to fall into that, and like sometimes even like usually I'm a bit here, but like last night I was up till like 1 a.m. and I was like, that's really out of character for me. It's just like watching a bunch of shit, you know?
Yeah.
And like not that there's anything wrong with that. Like there's nothing wrong with sleeping in and doing stuff like that. But at the same time, like I know that like I'll sleep better and I'll wake up ready for like I probably would have woken up more prepared for this podcast.
Taking time this morning,
I mean, it is what it is. I still think we got to a really good place.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, like it can still be a struggle in the moment to always keep reminding yourself when you really don't want to do it that like yourself tomorrow will thank you for this, and then like imagine and you build on that for a week and a month and a year or whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming out of I mean, you talked about coming out of the winter more.
Yeah.
More disciplined, I think, is a good way to describe it.
Absolutely. I think that's exactly what I was trying to get at that day when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Getting more discipline and making sure you stick to... It's like that clip from The Modern Wisdom with Matthew McConaughey when he's just like, don't bullshit yourself. He's like, don't half-ass anything. Just fucking... Only commit to what you can commit to, and then do that, and
it's
then
like,
build that trust with yourself, and then you can go off into other things. But show up. Don't half-ass one thing first. Pick one thing and don't half-ass it. Go in on it.
Yeah, and like you kind of said that. Will kind of said something like that on last week's episode about like having this code with yourself that's just like, if I can't admit to myself the truth, then what I'm doing is all. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to like. Not that you shouldn't be an honest person, but like you don't have to face the music with anybody but yourself truly. So like having that code with yourself and being like, why am I taking this day off? What is going to help me tomorrow? And being honest with yourself about the answer. Yeah. Like we all know, you and I both know what the answer is. Like when you wake up and you go to reach for your phone, and it's like, it's not like a dangerous thing. But to me, the only way that we're going to be able to really do this or just become better people in general is if you're working on that.
And you're paying attention to it. I said it to my mom in the car the other day.
There's always more stuff.
We were having a conversation. I said to her, I was just like, you know when things got really bad for everybody? When the TV got color. Because then there was like a distraction that like looked like real life in front of people. And once the power of the TV spread, just grew, and now the phone is like the primary one. You're holding something in your hand all day
that can
long,
basically be a TV, yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's a distraction.
And way more, yeah.
And it's you have to at some point wake up to the fact that like I can't live my life being distracted all of the time. Like I have to face the music, even if it like I think
it's numbing.
I think that's why I go to the phone in the morning, you know? It's like, if I can just distract myself in little spurts, then like, it just...
gets me through the day, but why why not be productive about that? It's like, the fight I have with myself,
Instead of sitting there bitching to myself, like, look at your screen time. Like, just don't be on your fucking phone, dummy.
Yeah, leave it in another room. Like, there's like science to it about, especially like social media in particular, but even if it's the news or it's anything like that is like about what other people are doing, or whether it's people that you know or celebrities or whatever.
Attention spans have gone down so far.
But there's a science to the fact that you're waking up and you're looking at all the stuff you missed out on yesterday. And while you're scrolling away, you're missing out today again.
Yep.
And while, you know what I mean? And like, not to say that like everybody who posts stuff on social media is being present and that's what you're experiencing, but you're looking at what other people are doing versus doing your own thing. And there's a healthy amount of it. Like I don't, but I will say that for me right now, I get more negative out of it than positive.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm the same. And I think it's because we're so aware of it. Because I think the problem that a lot of people have when you start to like have these realizations and become more self-aware is you become aware that like the problem is you. And a lot of people
I have the time in the day.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want to face that. Like I saw an article the other day that it was just like I think Deepak posted it, and it was just like an article from the New York Times, and it was like Deepak Chopra says you actually do have enough time to meditate. And I was like, yo, right on, bro. You do.
Yeah.
Like that's what
there's nobody in this world who does not have 10 minutes of
It's just like when you get to that point of, do you want to work on it and let go of whatever it is that's making you not want to be aware, or do you want to just continue on, like?
Yeah, it's like in a way, it's like it's not the best term for it, but it's like auditing your life.
Yeah,
like
Jay Shetty says to do.
Not that you should be like so regimented about like every single thing, but like if I'm on my phone for 2 hours, that's a lot of time. I could be getting ahead on the podcast. I could be looking for all sorts of guests. I could be doing literally anything that's better than
balancing my checkbook.
Than like watching the video on TikTok that's just like, yo, what's your body count? What do you think is a good body count for a girl?
Yeah, man.
Right? And there's a great bit that this comedian Fahim Anwar has he's like, sometimes I feel like really mindful when I watch a whole movie and I don't look at my phone the whole time. But he's like, that's like the point that we've gotten to.
Yeah.
In terms of, and like, I actually like, if I do that, like, I feel accomplished. I'm like, damn, I watched fucking that whole entertaining ass movie that was made for me to consume without looking at the other thing that I could get whatever I wanted to consume at any point.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that is like a good balance though, because it's having the mindfulness to be like, I'm not going to be on my phone, but I am going to allow myself to sit back and indulge in this. But like, you're allowing yourself to do that. There's a difference between allowing and then just being like distracted by the phone all of the time.
Yeah, we talk about mindful ways of using it, and that like, yeah, there's no way for us to not no way, but like there's kind of no way for us to really grow as a podcast if people aren't on their phones in some capacity watching our episodes. But being like mindful about it, like I'm just gonna be honest with you, consuming this podcast is better than you scrolling on TikTok.
100%. You can listen.
You might learn something.
Yeah. You can listen to us tell you why it's so bad to scroll on TikTok based on the effects it has on our lives.
And like for some people that's their alone time, whatever. That's how you want to do it. But like there's a difference between doing that for, I don't know, over the course of an hour of screen time or 4 or 5 hours. That's a lot.
This is going to make a great TikTok.
Don't be on TikTok. Just and it's the awareness and the mindfulness of like how are you doing that, and that, but that's a thing that I'm still trying to break after doing all these things, which is that like that thing where you wake up and you go right to your phone to be like, what did I miss? Who texted me? Where are the emails? Or maybe it's you go into your phone and you're like, how many views do we get? How many downloads? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's pointing you in a direction of like numbers are what matters, or whatever it is. What other people did matters versus what I did.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. Full on agree.
Full blown agree. Yeah.
You want a high five too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, got anything else? I feel like we got very into that. That was spirited at the end. Mm-hmm. That was what we wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm. What could happen if you cut your screen time down to under 1 hour a day?
Yeah. Imagine.
And yeah,
I could probably
if you take out doing stuff.
I could probably be a real estate agent already. You know what I mean?
I could probably have an Emmy by now.
I had a week.
That's a callback. It's a callback.
Yeah. Of another episode where it's just us. But I had a day last week where, I looked and I cringed. My screen time was like 6 hours and 51 minutes.
Dude, sometimes I have days like that, dude. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm not trying to shade. Like, I'm struggling here. And we come out here.
That's why we're talking about it. We're not throwing shade. Like,
yeah.
I too am stuck on TikTok.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get out of the cycle of if I'm mad about that and I'm doing that all the time.
Yeah, it's because I'm not. It's because I'm letting myself do it.
Yeah, you're the only one. Like we talk about control and what you have. Like you have control over what you spend time with, and that's why I say like anybody you say like, I don't have 10 minutes in the day. Go there first. If you're not on your phone all the time, audit other areas.
Yeah. It's
But
literally,
if you're taking a half an hour in Candy Crush, then you have 10 minutes to meditate. And that's just a fact. That's a fact that I had to face.
Yeah.
Like, not Candy Crush specifically, but...
His was masturbation.
I filled that void with a podcast, of course.
Yeah. Oh, Will was like, this plant is where my bed used to be. In the last 2 episodes, my bed was here.
Mm-hmm. The baby.
And now I am floor dog. If you watch this podcast for no other reason, watch it. So, what this seal.
So he can feed his dog.
Yeah, and so he can feed his dog.
Yeah.
We're for the dogs. Otis for POTUS.
Whatever that version is of it.
Yeah. Otis for POTUS. That's what that sign said. Well, we always talk about how we want to get better at wrapping these things, and then we never talk about how we would actually wrap something.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like the time's winding down. I feel like is there more?
Yeah, this has been. I mean, I feel like this has been a whirlwind of a production today.
Oh yeah.
I would say.
From start to finish.
From start to finish. But I feel like I always do after we find that like flow state and get back to ourselves, whether it's from you or kind of what comes from the conversation. I feel good about like. I always leave recording an episode being like, okay, this is something I can put energy to, like, meaning that like I leave this feeling like, okay, I have something to work on and I have the opportunity to do that and come back to the podcast next week and talk about it.
Yeah, I feel that way all the time when we do this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a good spot to be at, and that's how you know it's something that you want to work on, because the next time you come up, you want to be better.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going to put so much pressure on ourselves to be better that we get sidetracked from the task and total.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So
work with what you can control, always.
Control the controllable. John Cena.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
We love that quote.
Mm-hmm.
Well, episode 47. You got a 47 for us today?
47.
Tom Glavine.
47 was Tom Glavine, wasn't it?
Yeah, because he wasn't 48, right?
He might not have been 47 on the Mets, but he might have been 40. He was almost certainly 47 on the Braves.
Troy, what was his name? Percival, the closer for the Angels.
Troy
I believe
Percival?
was number 47.
47.
So we'll leave you with that one. If I was wrong, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, comment Anaheim Angels, because that was the team he was on.
Yes,
they've since been. It was not the California, it was the Anaheim.
Yep.
And then not the Los Angeles.
God damn, there's been so many California Angels.
Shout out Angels in the Outfield, one of the greatest.
Phenomenal movie. Matthew McConaughey, first role, uncredited. He plays the center fielder.
That's his first role?
I
thought Dazed and Confused.
Nah, it's before, in 96.
Really?
Yeah.
Or
no.
No.
After.
Because he tells that story all the time about how like he wasn't an actor until Dazed and Confused.
Oh, well, then it's like right around the same time. Though.
Oh, I'm sure it's close. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
But he's in that.
Because the Modern Wisdom, he talks about how he had done like these little things here and there, like modeling or whatever it was, and that like they just gave him.
Maybe he just leaves that.
It was the first line he ever said on screen. He said was all right. Like, which, fun fact, he got from Jim Morrison.
I can't wait to put Matthew McConaughey in the header of this episode. We're gonna be like, they don't even have. We'll use the our clip. What's it called? That we were talking about adding.
Trailer?
No. The other thing.
Teaser. Thumbnail.
The thumbnail. The thumbnail can just be his picture from Modern Wisdom.
Or from Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah, that's even better.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Hell yeah.
All right, okay. This has been fun today. I love you, buddy.
Yeah, good episode.
All righty.